Hello and welcome. Thanks so much for watching. Today we're going to do something just a little bit different. If we've never met, my name is Jem and I love all things arty. And this is hopefully the first in a series of videos inspired by different artworks. Now, one of my favourite paintings of all time is by Sir Frederic Leghton, entitled Flaming June. It's an absolute masterclass in colour, graduation, form and the flow of fabric. I want to create something today entirely influenced and inspired by that painting. If you have a particular favourite painting or other sculpture or particular artwork that you really love and you'd like me to create something inspired by that piece, whatever the medium might be, then do drop me a comment down below and let me know what you'd like me to take a look at. My name is Jem, this is the Jem Hawkes YouTube channel. Let's work with Flaming June. The first thing I have done for today's video is to choose my materials. So I have some 1mm or 18 gauge round wire, this is raw copper, and I also have some 0.4mm or 26 gauge, also raw copper in that round wire. I've chosen to use some 6mm round carnelians and some faceted 2mm champagne zircons. They are absolutely gorgeous and glittery. I do hope I'll be able to do Flaming June justice. I've taken inspiration from not just the colours but the flow of the fabric and the tonal variations within. I hope that you will enjoy this spiral pendant inspired by Sir Frederic Leghton's Flaming June. We're going to start with a 10-inch length of that 1mm or 18 gauge wire. This is round wire in raw copper. And I'm going to be using my memory wire finishing pliers today, but you could use bail making pliers or round nose pliers. Let's start by creating 1.5 turns of a spiral. So I'm going to start by creating almost an entire circle before I switch over to my flat facing pliers, and I'm going to go for 1.5 turns where the continuation of wire touches the start point of wire. Then I'm going to start to allow this to open out slightly. Now you will get much better results in your wire working if you take a moment to just warm that through, especially on cooler days. So I'm now going to start opening that spiral out, leaving something of a gap. Now it doesn't have to be 1.5 turns of wire, that's just aesthetically what I feel like going for today. So once I've got around about halfway around with that opening, I'm just going to assess and to see how much more I want to generate on that open spiral. So let's just keep going until it feels right. What we don't want to do is acres and acres of spiralling around here, because it then becomes rather difficult to set those beads onto the outside edge of that spiral. So I think we're going to stop around about here, and I'm going to start by anchoring on my finer wire at the point where the spiral begins to open away from itself. Before I go any further, I'm just going to apply a little bit of work hardening or strengthening. You could gently tap with a hammer if you prefer, but I'm just going to open and close my flat facing pliers over the top there, just to give that a little extra rigidity. Now I have around about 15 inches of that finer wire here. It's plenty, it just happens to be an amount I had cut on my desk. If we run short, I'll edit the video to say we needed more. So let's begin by looking at how we're going to hold the spiral. What we need to do is to get the cut end of the finer gauge wire closer to the closed up part of that spiral, and the easiest way you can do this is to lay about 1 inch of that finer wire over the top of the heavier wire and just start to generate a spiral around your heavier wire. Once you've got a good 7 turns of wire, you can go for different numbers if you want to, if they have meaning to you. And I made sure that my wire was flush cut before I started, which means that I can use every last scrap of this particular end of the wire and just get that to sit down smoothly onto the core or the heavier wire. I'm going to press with my fingernails on one side and my pliers on the other side to make sure that that little spiral is nice and tight. You'll note that the cut end is moving towards the spiral and the joined end is going away to the open part of the design. So let's make sure that's nice and tidy and that there's no sticky uppy bits, and then we're going to push that all the way around until it sits against where the spiral begins to open up. So let's just get that to sit neatly into position. What I'm going to do now is to unfurl all of this 15-inch length of that finer wire, and I'm going to add a bunch of my fine beads on. Believe you me, even with my new varifocals, it's not a pretty sight. So I'm just going to open that wire out without touching it too much, and then load on a bunch of beads. Once I've loaded on a bunch of these teeny tiny 2mm beads, and I'll just do one with you because, dear, wow, it's something of an effort for me to see where the hole is. Once I've loaded a bunch of those on, I'll just turn the end of the wire over a couple of times to ensure that they don't all go flying off again. I think I'm going to add, there's probably about 15 beads there. It's not quite enough, but it's a good place to get us started so that we can work on the spiral section on that Flaming June pendant. I've added the beads onto my wire and just turned the end of that wire over a couple of times to make sure that those beads are going nowhere. So if we get back to the coil end of the design, just make sure that the little wraps of wire are tight up against that spiral. As it starts to open out, we're going to pop the first bead into position. Now my finer wire, as always, is coming off the top of the heavier wire. So what I'm going to do is to hold that bead in position and pull the finer wire down the back of the design. Now it's a little bit fiddly, but all you need to do is to bring the wire up into the gap and then draw the tail underneath and all the way around. So what I'm going to do is wrap 3 times around the heavy wire with the light wire. So the design is going to be moving around quite a lot, and this is just to make sure that your hands don't get fatigued. Push that all the way up. So I now have 3 visible wraps of wire. The finer wire has wrapped 3 times around that spiral. So I'm going to allow the next bead to come into position, and I'm just going to repeat that all the way around until I get to around about here, and then I'll join you back and we'll move on to the next step of this Flaming June tutorial. As we start to get closer to the part of the spiral which is just sort of coming away, what we need to do is to make sure that we're happy with how that spiral forms. You can go as close to the start point as you like. I'm going to just bring that wire over the top a little bit more. I'm pressing some warmth into that design just to make sure that I can continue bringing that arc of wire around in a way that pleases me. So I've added a little extra bend. I'm going to continue adding a few more beads, and now you're that much closer to the open part of the spiral, it is much easier to draw the wire around to generate those 3 little wraps between each bead. So just keep going until you get to the point where you're ready to bring the wire up and away, as per the example of the Flaming June pendant in my hand. So once I've added beads all the way around the spiral as far as I want that to go, what I'm going to do is to just start warming that wire through again and begin to bring that wire back in the opposite direction. Now I'm doing this more by applying heat than I am by physically bending it. And just bring that up and away. Now you can, if you prefer, use pliers to generate the kind of arc shape that you're looking for, but I think that to reflect the original artwork that we're looking at, I want to have really soft flowing lines. Now, before I start to think about adding beads onto my wire, my 6mm beads, carnelian in this instance, have got a really good drill aperture up the middle. So they are going to flow onto my 1mm or 18 gauge wire really easily. That is definitely something to consider when you're choosing which beads to use. But before we consider adding those, I'm going to have some wire just spiraling around the heavier wire without any additional beads, just a little bit of a gap whilst we move on to the straight up part of the design. So I'm just going to wrap around. Every time I've done a couple of wraps, I'm going to compress that so that we get a really neat and tidy level of wrapping. Now you can press every single time you rotate that wire around if you prefer, But as long as you're doing it every sort of 3 or so wraps, you'll be able to generate a nice, neat finish. So I've got a really lovely smooth arc forming just here, above where the bead wrapping finishes and before we start adding those large beads. So again, I'm just going to smooth and warm through on that upright section. Now, in order to bring this a little bit tighter, I'm just going to use my plier to help bring that angle to exactly how it is in my mind's eye. I think I want it slightly closer to where that wrapping takes place. So I'm going to very softly just ensure that this sits exactly how I want it to. Now, I think probably I can get 2 more wraps of wire just on that heavy section, just to make sure it sits exactly how it feels right. Let's add in the first of our beads all the way up at the top of the design, sit that down into position. Now, my finer gauge wire continues to come away from the design on top of the heavier wire, so I'm going to sit my bead into position and draw the tail of wire underneath. Now, for me, because I've got 2mm faceted small beads and a 6mm large bead, I'm going to be using 5 beads to create the small halo around the outside of the design. So on this piece, I've elected to bring those beads away on the left, but you could do that on the right instead. It's really however you feel that flow is going to work best for you. The reason I'm showing you this on the left hand side instead of on the right is so that you can choose which one you think flows better. So I've got my 5 small beads in position. The fine wire starts on top, goes all the way around the edge of the large bead, sits underneath. So I'm going to hold those beads, I'm going to pinch them really firmly into position, and then I'm going to wrap 3 times and see what that looks like. Push it down. I think I'm going to go for a larger gap. So let's go for 7 wraps. We started with 7 wraps, so let's go for 7 wraps just here. No reason whatsoever. That's 5, that's 6, that's 7. Now I'm going to now draw the wire so that it's underneath, just because it means when I add my next larger bead, 6mm carnelian, into position, it means that the next halo of wire with those tiny faceted beads is going to be going on the opposite side to the first one. So again, you can play with that until it fits the idea that you prefer. So we're going to again use 5 beads, but this time, because the finer wire is underneath, we're going to bring the tail of wire over the top so that you get these lovely little halos around those larger beads. So I'm just going to hold that in position and finish off with, well, we did 7 wraps between the 2 carnelian beads, so let's do 7 wraps up at the top. That's 4, 5, 6 and 7. Compress those all the way up and just make sure that you're happy with how that's sitting. Now, if you absolutely hated what you've done, you can kind of loosen it off slightly and just flip that over to the other side if you prefer that flow. Let's just have a look at them side by side for a moment. I think they both work in different ways, so it's really whatever you feel is best for you. So we've got a handful of beads just left on the end here. I'm not going to do anything with those right now, so I'm going to flip the design over to the rear, pull those little beads out the way, trim that wire away as close to the back as possible. I'm just going to fold the end over here so that I don't lose those in the interim. Make sure that that cut end sits down flush and smooth to that core wire. All I'm going to do is a very, very simple wrapped loop up at the top to generate a type of simplistic bail. So if I grip the design across, push that wire upwards, I'm then going to find a round form to use to create a bail. So I've got one of these beadalon wooden mandrels. This is very small writing, I can't actually read it. It's a small amount, it's probably about 1/4 of an inch. So let's draw that all the way around to generate a rounded form. You could of course use round nose pliers or your bail makers if you wanted a much smaller bail. So you could go for a much smaller bail if you wanted, but this is the one that I've gone for today. So I'm just going to pinch that, make sure that it's sitting equally positioned at the top of that little section of wire, grip across, draw the wire all the way around and fill that gap, finishing with the wire at the rear of the design. So let's have a look. I think that looks lovely, just making sure that everything is sitting how I want it to sit before I cut the remainder of that wire away, and then just push that last little tail down against the core, making sure you don't harm your little beads as well. Let's give that a bit of a squish to make sure it sits neat and tidy, and then you've got your 2 variations of the flaming June inspired pendant. Thanks so much for watching. I hope that you have enjoyed the flaming June inspired pendant design with me today. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, leave me a comment if you're enjoying the content, and also it does cost you nothing to hype the video, but it helps me to be seen by the wider YouTube audience. What do you think? Let me know if there's any paintings or sculptures that you'd like me to investigate further and to create some wire-wrapped jewellery in the future. Have the most wonderful day. My name is Jem. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.